Jordan, 2025, we are here and it came around faster than ever. Are you pumped? How are we feeling?
Dude, super excited for 2025 and what's to come. We had a massive 2024, our first year. We've actually just hit 12 months of the podcast since we launched the first episode. That's
amazing.
Super exciting. And really, that's 2 years since we started working on it.
Yeah, so the idea came together.
Yeah. And super excited for what's to come.
New guests, new topics of discussion.
Yes, I've just started a conversation with a guest for next month. I think is going to be incredible. A little bit different to what we normally do, but I think we're going to get a lot from it, which is going to be good.
And that's it. That's why we created this podcast, for people aspiring and people who are within business to absorb and learn knowledge from other people who are doing it, wanting to do it, or have done it.
Well, that's it. And the whole point of Day One Energy is Day One Energy, right? It's all about keeping that energy, keeping that motivation, coming into work every day like it's your first day. You're just ready to smash it out. You do 100 calls, you type 100 emails, whatever it be, you sell 100 products. So I think there's more than just business owners in there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of athletes, right? Sports is like a business. I mean, you've got to get up every morning. You've got to train as hard as you can every single day to be able to beat that other guy and really push to the top. So I think we've
push for more than just that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think
just finished reading Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO book, and at the start of the book he says, "I'm going to teach you the 33 laws of business and life." Because it's not just about growing a successful business, it's about crafting success in any realm that you want. And I think that's just a wide range. And I believe that the people we have interviewed have shared that effectively. We've had we've had such a wide...
And every single guest had a different idea of what success was, which going through the year as I reflected, which is what I started to realize as well. Because, when we first met, it was like, I want the flashy cars, I want the nice watches, the nice house, and it was all materialistic stuff. But I very quickly realized that wasn't success to me. That was what someone else was telling me I should aim for. And then so when I realized success for me is freedom.
Time,
I was like, now I've got something to work for. And it just, it skyrocketed from there. The second half of last year was just incredible for me. I know it was for you too. I mean, big moves. You've made massive moves this year too already. We're only like 3 weeks into January. You've got a business partner, a name change. You've got pretty decent sized team now too, right?
Yeah, it's been some really good growth.
The studio.
Yeah, there's lots happening, and likewise for you, mate. Big January, we're only 2 weeks in, and you've already achieved so much. Things settling, new things coming to market.
January already, we're 3 weeks in, 2 weeks in, and so far I've already made a bit over a third what I made last year.
How good's that?
So I think it's gonna be a busy year.
Testament to hard work.
Well, that's it, and it's right now it's working out the right processes in order to be able to take on the work that I've got for the next 6 months without burning out. So I can have those right processes in place so it all just works like a well-oiled engine. And then I've got plans to then bring someone on after the next after this financial year as we move into the next. So that'll be good. Someone to do all the
grunt work.
Well, no, do the admin and stuff. Like social media, as you know, it takes up quite a bit of time. And I mean, even when I had someone doing the videos and stuff for me, it's still the posting and that sort of thing. So, but I mean, I enjoy it. So
exactly,
bit of creativity.
Yeah. So big year, big ambitions planned, lots happening. I'd love to get into, we're just talking about a point of reflection. I want to ask you, top 5 things that you got out of the podcast and our guests last year.
Yeah. Well, straight away, I'm just going to head straight into number 1, dive in. And it was that, what's my version of success? That was probably the biggest one. Number 2 was from the second episode, which was the first episode with a guest, Paul Sharples. And he said it was along the lines of never be ashamed to borrow money to improve your business. The next week, the bus stop that I've been wanting for so long became available. I did not have the money for it, so I got a loan, I got it done, and it's proved to actually help out quite a lot, which has been awesome, especially for my image and that sort of thing, and getting out there.
Yep.
Number 3, I think there was a lot in the episode with Emily.
I agree. That's
from Raw Body. That was a great episode, and again, it was that different point of view, which we definitely. I think Emily's episode was completely different from all of the others.
Completely agree.
Her version of success, where she is, all that sort of stuff. She's on a different path to everyone else we had, and I think that was probably more from the personal development for me, and putting my clients first has always been important to me, but stepping that importance up even more, I think is probably the biggest thing I got from that episode.
Number 4?
Number 4. Really putting me on the spot here. I gotta. I'm trying to think and get through it. Probably. I think Nathan's episode, Nathan Cooney from Luxurious Lawns. Again, a different point of view of what success is. Success for him is he's got a young family, he's got a baby on the way, and success for him was that freedom and time to be able to spend the afternoon with the kids and the family and that sort of thing.
Yeah, he had a really interesting and different point of view, which I loved.
Yeah.
He ran a business but had no desire to have 1 million staff.
That's exactly what I was about to dive into, and it was quality of work, right? He wanted to make sure his quality of work was there, and that again comes into putting your clients first and that sort of thing, and making sure that service and quality is there. So service and quality importance was probably a big one I took from that. And number 5. Number 5. Probably from the last episode we did with Ben Vickers.
Yeah.
And I think I got from that I'm on the right path and just to keep pushing.
Consistency.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Consistency. I mean, he's been through so many different roles, and has worked his way up quite quickly, and that just simply comes down to hard work. And if you just keep pushing, keep grinding, you'll get through it. You'll have a business you might be able to sell for a lot of money.
Love it, mate.
What about you, man?
Number 1, actually interesting. Emily, Raw Body.
Yep.
You've got nothing without your health. So that was quite moving for me. And even in the recent book that I read, it was you use the analogy of you have your car, you have your job, you have your kids, you got your wife, you've got all those things that you think are your priorities. I got to get this done. I got to get this done. If your dog dies, it's going to be sad, but you'll live on. The table that sits on is your health. And if your health goes and you fall out and that health cracks and falls through, everything else goes anyway. And if you get sick or your health is not your priority, then nothing else matters. So that was the biggest thing for me, is got to focus on the health, got to focus on a clear mind. I think that also comes down to your mental health. So focusing on what makes you happy and how you do it. So that's my number 1. My number 2 would be Dion's episode.
Yeah.
Regarding 2 different topics.
Man.
Love the man. He said networking and relationships are your number 1 priority. And he also said when finding staff, you may be, I'm a bit I don't know how I feel about this, but with due time, you always find out whether their heart's in it. And he told the story about how one of his employees ran through the rain in the city to get something signed so they could seal a deal.
On that topic, I was actually talking to Dion 8 o'clock. It was 8:30 p.m. on Sunday night. And he said, hold on, just give me a second. Janice is emailing me. Janice is one of his employees. 8:30 at night on a Sunday.
So that was awesome. I thought that was quite moving. Number 3 would be Aaron's episode, a 10 of auto detailing. And his view of success was being able to retire his mum. And not that I thought much of it at the time, but I just thought, wow, that's such a selfless act. And it taught me a lot in the way of, we owe people around us so much, especially your family, because they're so close to you and they push you, and whether that's in a positive or negative way, it always has some sort of positive impact. So that taught me a lot. I love that. Number 4 would be the Ben Vickers episode. In the episode, he talked about when an opportunity came to you, you say, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to move to city. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I loved that. I thought it showed great ambition, but also that sometimes you just got to weigh the pros and cons and go, you know what?
Yeah,
This is huge. Let's just go do it.
Taking those risks and those random opportunities that just came up is what led to his success.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, let's bounce, let's learn, let's go. And he talked about being education. His time in the corporate world was his education, which allowed him to start the businesses.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's powerful if you're a listener and you're not actually running a business. Use what you're at right now. Use your job at Subway. Use your job in the corporate world, in the admin world, or wherever you are as education to be able to. All right, I'm learning. I'm gonna drain every bit of knowledge I could possibly can from this business, and then try and apply it to my own. Use it as a university, and I think that's such a great lesson, and I think it's a really good push for people who are looking to get into business, because you learnt from your first job, right?
Yeah.
And you applied that to this one. I learnt from mine, and we were able to apply it for this one, so that's a really big one. Number five. I'm going to say, and this is a tough one, there's a few that come to mind here. Hot take, I'm going to say Nathan's episode. And I'm going to say it's the line that is, I don't want this company to be massive. I just want to be able to provide for my family.
Yeah.
Not that I relate to that, because obviously we all have different ambitions, right? I liked that purely because it's okay to not always want or have the desire to push for incredible things, and that success is
refreshing, I think, too, because it's a different point of view to most people who own businesses and that sort of thing. So, yeah, he's very, very much a family man, which I admire.
That's it. Yeah, there's something quite admirable about that. There's something, he values relationship over everything. Yeah. So, that's a great lesson. They're my top 5, Jordan. I got a lot out of the year. We've had a crazy amount of guests, what's the word? I'm trying to find the variety of guests on in different industries and different levels, from Paul to Alex to Dion to Aaron. Like, we have so many different levels of international business to 19-year-old.
A 19-year-old, and then someone who's been in business for 25 years and has an international business. But so I think we're probably, my vision is to have even more variety this year.
Completely agree.
I'm super excited for it. One question that I really, 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 really want to know. What's your favourite episode from last year?
Mate, it's like trying to pick a favourite kid. You can't do it, man. Everyone has a favourite. Yeah. It's tough. I got something out of every episode. I'm not going to rank each one, but I'll give you the feelings that I had. I was most excited for Ben Vickers' episode. I got the absolute most out of Dion's episode, and I thoroughly enjoyed Alex's episode. Yeah. That's my 3, the way I'll rank them.
Yeah.
But I actually, sorry, I'm going to take all that back. Dion's episode was my favourite.
Dion's?
I thought Dion was great. It was real. It was down to earth, and he called it like he saw it, and we're having it over a scotch.
Well, you had a water.
I did, but
yeah. I think mine ties, and it ties for two separate reasons. My favourite episode is probably the episode we did with George Soros.
Oh my gosh, how did he fly under the radar there?
George, I still follow George. I do a lot of work with George still. And yeah, he's someone that I look up to a lot in business. So to have him come on, he's just a real dude trying to make it. Well, not trying to.
Brilliant
who's
energy.
made it. And yeah, just keeps growth going. He's achieving a lot. So I got quite a bit from that episode. And my other favourite episode, funnily enough, is the first episode.
Yeah, you and I.
And the reason for that is because it's so shit.
It's not the greatest.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched that episode.
Really?
I go back and I watch it so often and I go, wow. The audio was shit. The video was shit. We were filming, we had we had two cameras, one which was like a shit camera that I had. You had a good camera.
Yeah.
And then we had my iPhone.
Yeah.
And we were using those to record it. The microphones were horrible. We had so many problems.
Dog water those microphones.
But the probably the biggest reason is because I look at both of us and I go, they are not even the same people.
No. And I think that also is something that if you want to watch these episodes in chronological order, you're going to see the growth of us and also
The podcast.
itself. So,
yeah. I look at it and I go, that's what Lachie was doing then. That's what I was doing then.
Things have changed.
Wow, we thought we were knew a lot coming into this. We knew nothing.
But it's constant learning. And that's what I feel like if there's an overarching message besides day one energy, it's just learn. And that's why we do what we do. We're asking people sometimes dumb questions because we want to learn.
There is no such thing as a dumb question.
There is no such thing.
If you don't know, you don't know. Exactly. Ask the question.
I mean, Joe Rogan podcast. He said, I want to ask smart people dumb questions because lots of other dumb people want to know those questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're constantly learning, and I think that's an important thing when it comes to business. I think it's an important thing when it comes to life in general. Why don't we learn from the mistakes that have already been made?
Yeah.
And there's these guys at the Gold Coast who run an event called The Forge. It's all about young entrepreneurs. It's a free networking event, and they were on a podcast recently that I listened to. And Isaac, he's a great guy. He said, we wanted to create an event, bring in multi-million-dollar speakers, so these guys can speak to people about the mistakes they made, so they don't make them. So we're learning from people who have already done it, and I think that's just a very important aspect of business itself.
Yeah. Yeah,
How can we
that's
avoid
good.
it? Yeah.
That's good. We've done a lot of talking just now. One thing we haven't spoken about is simply day one energy. Tell me about your day one energy throughout 2024.
Day one energy throughout 2024.
How have you stayed motivated? I mean, we're both 2 years in business now.
I'll tell you an interesting statistic. I got through 340 days last year without being sick. 341. I woke up sick. I pushed myself hard. I woke up every day and I was just, whether I had energy or whether I didn't, whether my routine was good in that period of time or not, whether I just worked 6 to 7 days straight and I was coming back on the Monday to continue going, I rocked up every day and I continued to push myself. And I went and I went and I went and I grew and I grew. I reinvested and I got sick 2 weeks before Chrissy. So I pushed myself as hard as possible, and that sickness was a good little reset. And it's also pushed my abilities and my threshold to the next point. So to answer that question, I pushed myself as hard as possible to get through this year, and did what it took. 2 international trips, new office, built a studio, lots of learning. But that was my day one energy, and it was just hop up every day and just give it your all. Eventually my body gave out, but I pushed myself as far as humanly possible before I got sick. So obviously just not the greatest thing to get sick, but I just feel like I'm going to continue to increase that threshold. In the Dion episode, I was like, you need to continually push your stress capabilities until you work in stress, and then it doesn't feel like stress anymore. So it's just like, I feel like I just consistently build on that. So this year, the goal is 341 days without getting sick. So just continue to push myself. Obviously have time off and enjoy life here and there. But that was my day one energy. Wake up and go. Just do it. Just do it. Nike.
Yeah.
What about you, sir?
Yeah. Oh man. My day one, the reason for my day one energy changed. At the beginning of the year, like I just bought my Mercedes. I was like, again, buying all the nice things, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is what I'm working for. And then, about halfway through the year, another very dear friend passed away, and I went into a bit of a identity crisis for a bit. And it took me a little while to jump back on to that day one energy. I lost the day one energy for a little bit, but once I realised that, well, I'm actually doing this so that I can have freedom, whether that be financial freedom, freedom with time, and just to spend time with friends and family. And I realised I was just working and not actually putting any effort into. I was going to the gym and that sort of stuff, but I wasn't putting much effort into what I actually wanted. And myself and my personal development and all that sort of stuff. So I sat down with Alex from a few episodes ago. He's our mentor, and we did a gratitude list. I started focusing on that. Did quite a few other things as well, and then the day one energy sparked again once I started putting myself first.
Purpose.
Yeah. It was a roller coaster. I had the Japan trip. That was a really, really good refresh as well. Came back refreshed, ready to go. I started working less hours. I realised that I was probably spreading my days out too much. I was working massive hours, like not finishing till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, and then realised that in a lot of those hours I was doing nothing. It was just like wasted time, and it was stuff like I was doing stuff that wasn't dollar productive.
Not rev generating.
Yeah. So I compacted my days so I could, again, get a bit more freedom.
Love it. I saw in an office yesterday, actually, for one of our clients. It said on the wall, "Be productive early. Don't fuck around all day." I'm like, that's great. It's true. Yeah. Sorry.
Love it. Yeah. So my day one energy changed throughout the year. And now that I've got freedom, I'm loving it. I love everything I do.
Where does your day one energy come from? We want to know. We love learning, like we said, and we want to see where everyone's underlying purpose, why that you wake up in the morning. Let us know. Write a comment below. Send us a message. We're always interested. We're always learning. Every single guest on this podcast has had a different reason on why they wake up in the morning and where their day one energy comes from and what their purpose is. And there's something beautiful and powerful in that.
That's it, yeah. Stick around for 2025. Big things planned.
Huge, yeah.
What I want to know is who you guys want to hear from. If you know a business owner, a superstar, an athlete, someone that is in your community that you look up to and you want to see on this podcast and have some great insights to share with people, please get in touch, let us know, so then that way we can get them on.
We can make this bigger, better, and more informative for everyone listening. That's it, John. Well, I wish you the absolute most success this year, mate.
Likewise, mate. Likewise.
And it's going to be a big year, and I'm pumped.
And
you should be pumped too.
Let's get it. To end the episode, I want to end it on my motto for the year. As you know, I have mottos.
You have your
each
motto?
Year. First year was block out, fuck shit up.
Love it. I wasn't expecting the profanity there, but I love it. Yep.
Last year was elevate, dominate, detonate.
Yeah.
This year is block out, but block out has a different meaning to this year. Block out is not block out others, it's block out your own mind, your own negative thoughts, you know. Who cares about that?
Screw it.
Go away from it. I've just had a complete mind blank. We're going to have to cut this bit.
You know what? It shows realness. Like, go again. So, it's all right, go.
Yeah.
And the last one.
Oh, block out and lock in. I don't know why I forgot that.
And
block out and lock in.
Yeah.
Just who cares about what your negative thoughts are? Get rid of your negative thoughts because they're not real. Just fucking lock in and do it.
It's that unconscious mind in your head.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Like literally, what are you scared of?
Yeah. You got nothing to lose.
Yeah. You're scared of losing that client? Get another one.
Yeah. Mine is process, system, and growth. Not as catchy and punchy, but they're my 3 pillars and my focuses for this year. Get them all right.
Love it.
We'll see you in the next episode.
You.
Catch up.